Hello, welcome to the show. I'm Jacquelene and you're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV, and I'm coming to you live from my lounge room in lockdown Melbourne. Ain't it fun? Yeah, no, we're not enjoying this. But, you know, it is what it is. You've got to just make the best of it. And, you know, I'm going to just give it a psychic example today of psychics doing life psychically, possibly illogically at times too. But hey, you've got to have some concession somewhere. I had to have surgery on my foot for dancing. It's actually on my toe, which I'm hypermobile, so it's really hilarious because that toe became rigid, and there was like bone spurs in it. And you know, this was from massive toe stub years ago, and repetitive injuries, and then more injuries, and then lockdown like for 10 months, and then coming back into dancing and getting up on the high heels, and the hip flexors going, I don't like this. Why are you doing this to me? You should have been wearing heels during lockdown, you crazy woman. And then I sort of worked on deloading the hips. So I was like back down into sneakers, like I can't believe I'm Latin dancing in sneakers. And it just kind of kept going. By the way, you can dance really well in sneakers. There's these over the shoe covering you can get that allows your shoe to go from a day walking shoe to a dance floor shoe. So I totally recommend that. And I'll have to find the link and put it up on my Facebook page, Jacquelene Close My Live, and I'll put it up there, and it's like, that is what you get. So any shoes can then be dance shoes. But in any case, did that. Finally got the hips back in action. I'm like, I'm doing 20 minutes a day of the heels. And then one night I put the heels on again and went, it was like really not good. I was feeling a lot of pain, and I went, this is that permanent thing on my foot that needs fixing, and it's not good at all. And I'm like, I know this is surgery, and I'm like, oh no, really? But persistent me and the podiatrist, we're strapping the foot up every day, and then I'm getting to not being able to dance, and I'm getting to be able to not be able to walk. And I'm like, probably time to do something about this now. Anyway, so I get told, all right, well, the x-rays come back and it's like, holy cow, Jacqueline, how are you walking? Was the question I was being asked. And I said, well, it's called determination, and try being a woman in, you know, a medical society where things get largely undiagnosed. And have you heard of childbirth before? Because you want to talk about pain, that's pain. So what, you know, so anyhow, they said, oh, you really need to see this surgeon. I went, actually, you know, I know a really good foot ankle surgeon, you know, that I know of that I should go to. And that had done some work on me, you know, a good decade before on an ankle. And I just got this feeling of like, oh no, I really can't call him because the surgery won't go ahead. And then I'll be left having to find a surgeon, and then we'll be in lockdown, which hadn't been announced or even hinted at. And then this is not going to, no, I can't do it. Because I'm tracking where Mars was going, and I was like, not going to be good for me individually as an individual person looking at my chart and looking where Mars is going. And so I can't actually wait too much longer in this year. So anyway, I got onto another podiatry guy, and he goes, oh, well, there's only 5 guys in Victoria that do this, and 2 of them are teachers. And I said, oh, it's these 2. And he goes, oh, have you heard of them? And I went, no. And he goes, well, how do you know it's them? I said, have you looked at what I do for a living? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, well, you know, it's not just that I help other people with stuff. I've got to help myself with this. Otherwise, my walk or my talk or not. That is what you preach, babe. And he's like, oh. And I said, but I like this one. And I said, and you've done something with this guy, haven't you? And he goes, yeah, well, he and I did a particular surgery. And I sort of went, oh. So I've been told not to say what that was, and it happened. It was really cool, though, but nothing untoward. And it was just like, in confidence. And I went, see, there you go. That's why I need to speak to this surgeon. So I went along to this fantastic surgeon. Turns out that out of all the 5 podiatral surgeons I got onto, this guy, guess what his brother does? Latin dancing. Guess what I do? Latin dancing. So the guy's got some empathy right away there. And then I sort of found out other things, and I was like, oh, wow, I'm really not going to be treated like a weirdo here with my job, you know, because usually people go, oh, you're a psychic. Oh, can you tell me what I'm thinking right now? Can you read my mind? I'm thinking, well, I don't really want to. There's not much in there. And anyway, this guy actually had a lot in his mind. It was really cool. And so anyway, we go out to talk about dates. And this is like late April. And they're talking, oh, the 13th of May, or this date, this date, this date, this date. And I'm like, 30th of May, how the hell am I going to afford time off going to my office face to face with clients? I'm going to have to work from home. I'm going to have to rest a lot. I'm going to have my foot up, which is why I haven't been on air. And but I still have the feeling, and so I went home and looked at the ephemeris where the moon's going to be, what's happening with all the planets, and I'm like, yeah, it has to be the 30th of May because I'm going to be locked down anyway. So anyway, sure enough, had the surgery, and then I'm sort of still sitting there, wrapping the knuckles on the thing, going, where's this lockdown? Like, I don't want it, but clients are going, oh, but if I can't book to see you face to face until June, mid-June, then why would why would I have a video phone reading? So, yep, lockdown. And then guess what? They're all having phone and video readings. And by the way, the surgeon that I originally wanted to go to, that I didn't go to, in the meantime, I find out that he's actually had a stroke. So it's incredibly sad because he's a brilliant surgeon. And he's a guy that worked on my ankle, and by all rights, I probably should have gone to him logically because he was so good last time. But, I trusted my gut. Not what I'm talking to you today is about trusting your gut in real life. I trusted my gut that I couldn't go to him. And even though I totally respect the guy, he's an amazing man as well, not just a good surgeon, really great surgeon, but he's actually a really good man. And I was like, why am I not, why is the surgery not going ahead if I go with him? And it was like, because he's going to have a stroke, love. So it was along the way after I'd had my first surgery consult elsewhere that I actually got told, yeah, did you hear about him? He's had a stroke, he'll never work again, which is really sad, but it was affirming because had I gone with him, I would have been delayed. I would then not be getting surgery during the dates I'm sort of looking at and would have had to wait a bit. Now, admittedly, the lockdown looks like only being a week or maybe two, maybe a little bit longer, who knows? But, I think the main thrust here is sort of trusting yourself. Because if I had have waited longer, I wouldn't have liked where Mars was going and a few other things that were happening. And it was like, I trust this because when I broke my ankle on the dance floor over a decade ago, I didn't want to be there that night. I still went there because I felt obligated by others. But I really felt like I'd be unsafe. And then on the dance floor, sure enough, I kept spinning, but my foot didn't. And I'm hypermobile, so that's how my ankle broke. And I had to have 3 surgeries after that, the last of which was my fantastic guy, as I was in the public health system initially with hospitals and that. And to get the metal back out, because I had all this metal in, that was a problem. But to get the metal back out, I had to go to this particular surgeon who ended up having a stroke many years later, unfortunately. But I trusted my instinct on who to go with then. I had the right surgeon. I trusted the timing of it. And the recovery was just brilliant. For me to be able to get back up onto heels, back up on the dance floor after getting over flashbacks of that experience, there are some really good points to being highly intuitive and imaginative, and there are some not great points of having that photographic memory just replaying. But to get back up on the dance floor and to finally, years later, actually trust a man to lead me on the dance floor and feel safe. So it's been a big journey there. But here we are, the toes finally fixed. And it actually, despite, only having limited time up on my feet, it's actually feeling pretty good. So it's all worked out for me because I've trusted and I've gone ahead with it, even though it was like going to be tight. It was like, no, that I'm going to have to rest anyway. And with this surgery, but also I won't be able to go to the office. So just trust in this process. So if things are throwing stuff at, if your life is throwing things at you that are like really like, whoa, confronting, and it's like, I get the instinct that sometimes it really can kind of go against the logic, but, you can also get a really great result by following that. And I think that's where, particularly if you're meeting people and you're like getting this instinct about them, I think, even just in what they write or what they say to you, how they treat you, just really listen to those cues. So sometimes if you're hearing from someone and they're going, oh, but this, and you're going, that's not right, that's not what's really going on in their head. Sometimes it's just good to trust that and just move away a bit until you've had enough time and space, and then to be able to sit back and go, and it's the same thing with why not get on this tram or bus rather than that one? When you're finding that your impressions are accurate and that this is repeatable, and then you're getting these sorts of impressions. And I've been working in this field for 26 years. If I'm not going to listen to myself about which surgeon to go to, when, and when to have that surgery, what am I doing consulting for anyone else? So, this is about, I think, documenting on a regular basis the impressions you get and then how they bear out in facts and evidence and real life events. And then you can say comfortably, yeah, I'm onto something here. This is okay. As long as also the messages are actually positive and affirming. That's the thing. Sometimes critical self-reflection is, just as important as positive messages, but just try and keep that balance. Yeah. So that's just my little talk for today. I just thought I'd get going. There's more on A1R Psychic Radio the rest of today. I'll catch you next time. Love you.